finally, and really gratefully to John Graversgaard. Thank you so much for coming to this panel. You're a friend of Eritrea. You visited the country extensively. So what are the lessons we can learn from Eritrea? I mean, again, I'm trying to really allow the audience to understand this incredible country that's now been again demonized, even though it was part of the peace process with Ethiopia. What are the lessons we could learn from Eritrea?
Yeah, I think the lesson is that it's very difficult to be an independent sovereign nation in a modern world, because that goes against the narrative of open markets, free access, and which is part of this global capitalism. And if a country says it wants independence and control of its own resources, and it has its own program, and it doesn't want to depend on aid, then it'll be seen as an outsider, and that's a problem, I think, in this understanding of the Western world, and that's also the academics and the journalists and the politicians of the United States and Europe. They are deeply infected by this worldview, and so that's part of the answer. And also this they have also favored Ethiopia because it's a big power in the region. It's much more interesting with 100 million people than this small Eritrea with 5-6 million people. So they have favored Ethiopia by many means, and using in this way the old trick of colonialism to divide and rule. That's my point of view.
And so watching Eritrea for a period of time, John, what are you noticing? I mean, in your years of wisdom now, obviously there are patterns. What do you think's emerging here?
Yeah, that's what has emerged is that they have stand forward, as they have not given up their program of independence and independent viewpoints, and they have also tried to work in the African Union, also to say Africa must stand on its own. Africa must be more independent in its own affairs, and this way they have been really consistent, and that I would say I admire that, because that's also as a kind of continuation of the dreams and ideas of the first independent African nations, the ideas of Nkrumah, Nyerere, and Lumumba, and other people, and so in this way, Eritrea has continued this way of thinking, these dreams. But the pity is that Eritrea has become very solitary or isolated, also because of these African leaders have been, in my opinion, traitors to the legacy of anti-colonialism.
Traitors, forgive me. For a moment, I thought you said traitors, and I thought that's an anathema, but you said traitors. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you mean traitors, yes.
I had to think for a minute. Yes. So I suppose that I'd like your perspective on, corruption and Eritrea. You visited it many times. Again,
sure.
just to give the audience from your perspective. So we've heard from the speakers before. So your perspective on that.
Yes, that's also part of this social program of the Eritrean government, and they want to develop the country to the benefit of the people, and also respecting the different ethnic groups and minorities in the country, and they don't play them out against each other. So we don't see in Eritrea have seen something like we here in Ethiopia with these ethnic violent clashes between the ethnic groups. And also they have they have steadily also warned Ethiopia to be careful about these ethnic divisions, and also that has been part of the President Isaias Afewerki's steady warnings to Ethiopia about this. And I think now he has he has found a friend in Abiy in Ethiopia that understands that that is really the solution also for Ethiopia, ending the misery and the ethnic clashes of Ethiopia.
And your perspective, you've obviously been watching the developments in the the conflict. What's your perspective on what's going on?
Yeah, my understanding is that the TPLF has been clever to entertain the Western politicians for many years, and they have been also using a public relations firm to propagate their point of view, and they then they have become favorites of Washington and European politicians, and they have opened up to all kind of aid organizations. So there's a lot of aid organizations that has profited really and filled their pockets in Ethiopia.
Thank you.
And also, I would say it's also you see the old saying about divide and rule. We see that again because instead of the Western politicians from Washington and Brussels go themselves to study and talk to go to Asmara, go to Addis Ababa, they rely on this propaganda from TPLF on the social media and so on, and they have a hell of a lot of money. I don't know how much they have in the banks in the United States and Europe. I believe they have a lot of finances.
I'm really grateful, John. I think an investigation in terms of corruption of the TPLF and the various sort of bank accounts around the world need to be investigated. Sure. Anyone's brave enough to do that, I suppose. But thank you so much. But there is one thing I said I was going to circle back on. So very quickly, John, I'll sort of go in reverse order. So forgive me, Yafet, I will get to you. Just your perspective in terms of a solution moving forward from your years of experience. What do you think is what are the steps that you think are a prerequisite? Tough question.
You're asking me?
I'm asking you. Yes.
Yeah. From my perspective, it's. I think Ethiopia and Eritrea should continue their this program of closer cooperation. They should continue. And of course, also invite Western politicians to inform them about this process and the plans and the development, and in this way isolate the TPLF people totally.
Lovely. John, thank you so much. Really grateful for your time. And I'm now going to go to Martin. So, Martin, yes, your thoughts.
Yes, I think John, he pointed out, I think if they go forward together, Ethiopia and Eritrea, this is the only way to have a successful future. I'm optimistic that they are able to resolve all the problems and come together. Of course, there is a lot of money for this finance journalists, but it is like with a glass water, time will come, it's empty. And so I think if the glass of water for them is empty, they will stop to report. Yes, because this is a business for them. This is business for them. And yeah, that's what I hope.
Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it.